What's up, YouTube? Joe here. I'm bringing you my 3 favorite baits for the fall transition. We are a little over a week into the fall transition up here in Massachusetts, where I'm from. I don't see a lot of YouTubers talking about this area, so a lot of the information that we get for our area, when we apply what the other YouTubers are saying, we're late because our seasons are always coming earlier than the seasons down south or where it's warmer. So like I said, most of the country hasn't even begun to touch the fall transition yet. We are already well into the fall transition. So I'm going to show you what I've been throwing the past few weeks to catch some really good fish. So here we go. Number one. Number one's going to be the walking bait. Specifically, the Evergreen shower blows. This bait, while it's a little pricey at like 18 bucks, it is well worth the price. It's a little different than your traditional walking style bait because it's got the cupped head, so it spits a little more water. But for whatever reason, the way this walks, the rattles it has inside of it, fish go crazy for it. It draws a ton of violent strikes. And it's one of the only topwater baits I've seen get hit multiple times. When a fish misses it, they seem to keep coming back at it until they actually hook themselves, which is great. But yeah, I generally throw it in this color, which is bone. It seems to work great up here in the clearer water where I fish. All the water seems to be anywhere from 6 to 10 foot of clarity, so it's pretty clear. And this bait does the trick. If you want a cheaper, little bit more, I wouldn't say budget, but if you want a less expensive walking bait, I'd go with the Berkeley Jaywalker. This is the Ghost Bluegill color. It's a little translucent, but this one works great when the sun's shining. I've gotten a ton of big fish on this bait. It's just since I found that Evergreen shower blows, I haven't been throwing it that much. Although I do wish I could have a shower blows in this color scheme, because this color scheme is killer for up here. A lot of the fish up here are strictly bluegill and perch eaters, so anything bluegill representing, like this Ghost Bluegill color, smashes. I throw that on a St. Croix. It's a 7.2 medium heavy, moderate fast rod. It's supposed to be a cranking rod, a light cranking rod. I bought it over the winter to use for DT6s, DT4s, maybe DT8s, but smaller, shallower cranks. And it's just been sitting around all summer, waiting until late fall or next spring to be used with those crankbaits. But I decided to use it as a topwater rod, or as my walking bait rod. I was using a standard medium powered fast action rod, a 7.2 medium Zodius, for topwaters. And while that's great for like the whopper ploppers and whatnot, because they get pretty thick hooks, I was losing a ton of fish on walking baits. I was losing probably as many fish as I was catching. It was maddening. I'd hook them, feel like I had them good, and they were pulling off. So I got to thinking, if you're supposed to use a really parabolic rod on crankbaits because they have treble hooks, what's the diff between these treble hooks, size 4, and the size 4 treble hooks on those small crankbaits? What's the difference? They're the same hooks. So I started using that rod for the walking baits, and my landing ratio went through the roof. It was one of the best fishing decisions I've ever made. The whip of the rod allows me to bomb this bait a mile, or bomb a walking bait a mile. So you get a really long cast, cover a lot of water. But yeah, it's worked out phenomenal. So especially early in the mornings when you see the fish pushing up schooling, you can't beat a walking bait. As soon as it hits the water, sometimes they're on it. It's like they're competing to get it. Who can get it first? And you can replicate that topwater bite all throughout the day. If you find areas where fish are pushing them up shallow, you can get a topwater bite going. And you can cover a lot of water. So it's the one thing about the fall is it's tough to find the spots where the fish are schooling up, but when you do, you catch a lot of them quickly. So with the walking bait, you can cover a ton of water quickly because you can make wicked long casts and just work it pretty fast. So bait number one. Bait number two is going to probably be my favorite bait of all time. the Jackhammer. Now, I throw a Jackhammer all summer. I use a 3/4 ounce Jackhammer during the summer to get it deeper. In the spring, I'll throw the 1/2 ounce, and then when we're back at this time of year in the fall, I'll go back to the 1/2 ounce when the fish are up shallow. Like I had mentioned, all the fish up here are pretty much all bluegill eaters, bluegill, perch, what have you. So the green pumpkin Jackhammer is the way to go. If you want to add a little color to it, you can do it in the trailer. Or like what I do is I just use the straight green pumpkin Jackhammer with a 5.5 inch Hog Farmer spunk shad in straight green pumpkin, and then I dye just the tip of the tail in a little chartreuse dye, and that's enough color for me. The water's all pretty clear, so green pumpkin anything works really well up here. I throw that on a 7.2 heavy St. Croix Legend Glass, which I absolutely love. It's a little bit heavier of a rod, but it's a phenomenal chatterbait rod. I've had a lot of success with it, and I'm super happy with it. I've used it for 2 seasons now, and I don't plan on changing anytime soon. All right, number 3 is going to be a little bit different. You hear everyone say soft jerk bait is great this time of year, which I'm sure it is. I just personally don't use them. I've never really used a fluke style bait. I don't know why, I just haven't. I guess you can't use everything under the sun. There's so many lures out there and not enough time to really use everything. But what I do instead of a soft jerk bait is I use a stick bait. Specifically, usually using the Berkeley General in 6 inch. I rig it Texas rigged, weightless, but I fish it like a soft jerk bait. Give it a few jerks, and then you stop it, and it's got that nice slow flutter. When you do that, that retrieve seems to get the fish going. It looks like a bait fish trying to run away, and then it's kind of dying. It's running away, and then it's dying. It looks like an easy meal. And I go with the 6 inch. A, you can get a further cast. It's a little heavier. And B, I feel like this time of year the fish are looking to fatten up, so a bigger, easier meal looks enticing to them. I'm sure the 5 inch would work too. I just throw the 6 inch this time of year. I catch smallmouth on it, largemouth, doesn't really matter. Fish see it, they love it. Especially that max scent. That max scent does work. The 3 main colors I use are, if it's very sunny out, I use the regular power bait, watermelon red flake. The sun, the sun makes the red flake shine a little bit. That's a great clear watercolor. If it's a little cloudier out, I go with the max scent watermelon green pumpkin. There's no flake, it's just a little bit of black flake, but there's really nothing shiny to it, so it's a good cloudier day color. And then this other color I just started using a lot, which I found this year actually, fairly recently, which I'm sure it's been out for a while. For some reason, I just never saw it. But it's green pumpkin. It's called green pumpkin black, but if you look, it's green pumpkin with black tails. And this has been working awesome for me lately. When I've been throwing it like a soft jerk bait, it's been working great. I throw that on a medium power fast action Zodius. It's a 7.2 medium fast. If for whatever reason I fish out of a kayak, so I only bring 8 rods. If for whatever reason I only have a medium heavy fast to fish it on, that works obviously fine too. For whatever reason, I just like for the weightless stick baits, I like that medium fast action. Seem to get a little bit better of a cast just because the rod's a little more bendy, so it helps you get a little bit longer of a cast. For the line, I'm going 30-pound braid to about a 12 to 15 pound leader, usually 15-pound leader. If you watch other YouTube videos, you see people, oh, you need 65-pound braid or 50-pound braid, blah, blah, blah. Well, up where I live, I throw 30. Anytime I'm throwing braid, it's 30-pound. The walking baits get 30-pound braid. Anytime I go braid to leader, it's 30-pound. Well, for bait casters, anytime I go braid to leader, it's 30-pound braid to whatever leader. For spinning rods, obviously I use 10 and 15-pound braid. But even for a frog rod, 30-pound braid up here is way more than enough. The thinner braid helps you get a bit longer of a cast. It's easier to work the lures because the line's so thin. So yeah, it's another point for you guys. I hope these 3 lures help you guys catch some fish. I'm gonna put some clips in now to show you that the top watered baits work. and the jackhammer works. I'm sure you already know they do, but just in case, these are from a few days ago. I had a 20-minute just smash fest with the topwater, and then the day before that I pulled in a 1 over 5 with the jackhammer. So check those clips out, and I'll see you next time, guys. Thank you. Oh. There we go. Oh, he came off. I didn't get a hook in him. That was 14 feet of water. Oh, Jesus. Jesus almighty. That was great. Nice chunky smallie. Good way to start the day. There you go. And that, my friends, is what I was talking about. I'm just chasing bait, and they are aggressive right now. Fattening up because they are all skinny. That's a nice fish to start the day, though. There we go. Oh, came off. Jesus, what's going on here? Oh, got that one. He looks like a good one. Stay on, buddy. Stay on, buddy. Oh, yeah. All right. All right. Fall transition, top water, early in the morning. Can't beat it. Can't go wrong. Let's go. Let's go. Oh. Jesus. These fish want this thing today, huh? And a decent largie. Not bad, not bad. Oh,
Titties. There's a big mama. 5.2, baby. Yeah. That's a nice one right there.